Are you stuck? What about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for 30-minute moments as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. It's time to celebrate that life with 30-minute moments.
Welcome to 30-minute moments for ease and betterment in your life. And I'm your host, Alena Chapman. You know, I was driving in today to do the show, and I'll have you know, I started to think to myself as I looked up at the clouds and the beautiful sky and the hawk flying and the geese getting ready to migrate and all this stuff happening. And I thought, you know what? It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. Each day is a new beginning. And I know we hear that all the time, and yeah, we toss it off. Okay, it's a new beginning. Yeah, but it's a new beginning for you. That means, what do you want it to be? How do you want to deal with whatever you're dealing with? How do you want to change who you are if you want to change? Maybe you want to grow in some way. Maybe there's something you're dealing with in your life, a toxic relationship, a job you don't like, weight you want to lose, whatever it is. Maybe just finding happiness, peace, and zen. Today is a new day. So this week, take a look at it. Take a look at, okay, I'm waking up to a new day. What do I want? What do I want to achieve today? Who do I want to be? How do I want to deal with this situation that I've been faced with? And I just, what's the best way for me to grow and for everyone I love to grow? You have time to actually paint your own picture of your life every day. Just want to leave that with you. Today, we are having an Ask Alena day. Now, people have sent in questions, and I'm going to start reading the very first question. How do we conquer feelings of doubt? And he's labeled it the imposter syndrome. I love that. We've got now a whole identity to this doubt, as if it didn't have its own. And I am not making light of this. And I think you are a very creative person, whoever you are. I love this. This is the creativity that is going to help you so much. First of all, don't label it. Sometimes, I once met a psychologist who said, you name it, you can tame it. Well, that's true. Sometimes, though, when we name it and we give it this persona, all of a sudden it's harder to get rid of it. Listen, you just have some doubt. You have some doubt maybe because of things you were told when you grew up. Maybe it's a self-worth thing. Maybe it's whatever, but it's just plain doubt. It's part of the critical mind. It can be tamed. The first thing I want to say is, how are you feeding your soul? How are you feeding your inner divine? Because if you do not build that up, start to realize that potential, then it's always going to nag you. You can do affirmations. I am awesome. I am wonderful. But if you don't feed that beautiful part of you, then you're going to create a void. And that doubt is just going to come in and fill that void, because you're not filling it with anything else. So let's talk about that. How are you living your day? Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? What types of music are you listening to? What are the messages? I used to love the slow songs with the minor keys when I was growing up, but my gosh, they're so sad. Who needs that? So you have to start listening to the text. Is that what I need today to feed my soul? Are they angry songs? No, I don't need that. Am I listening to all these ads that give me, first I'm sick, now I'm angry, now I can't cope? Are we listening to these ads? Are we listening to news all the time and growing in the hate and anger in that? What are we doing? And what about our friends? Are they feeding the positive and goodness in us? Or are we actually getting into a circle of negativity and then go home with this negativity? You've got to start looking at your life, because all this will feed the doubt, will feed the critical mind. So you've got to start honoring yourself and stepping out from that first. And then you can start training the mind. You can start building by listening to things on YouTube that really strengthen you. Listen to this show. Thank you for doing that. You wrote in a question. That's a good start. Start looking at, I've got YouTube videos. there are other people that have YouTube videos. They even have Wayne Dyer YouTube videos still out, even though he's passed. These are all people you need to listen to and to just start feeding the soul. What are you reading? Start looking at things that you want to read that feed your soul. They don't have to be self-help books per se. Get a funny book, something that's fun. And start looking at some of the shows. There's so many shows that feed doubt. Start watching shows that don't. You're going to start feeding your soul. And when you do that, then when that doubt feeling starts coming in, awareness is the key. First thing you know right away is, okay, I don't need this right now. I know that I'm worth more. Oh, one wonderful video you can start listening to is Neville Garter. And he was all about this incredible possibility. And if you want something to read, get the Tao, and read about how simple, little things like how to live more with God and feed your soul. Okay? And when that doubt comes in, you'll be all right. You can start to talk it down more because you have the awareness and you're building the soul. That's a good way to start. But don't name it. It's what it is. It's the critical mind. It adds to everything else. Build yourself up and start just saying, I don't need it anymore. Sorry, I don't want to feel that way. Okay? And if you want to talk to me further, I'm very accessible. So get hold of Wobo and they'll get hold of me. Okay? Awesome. Now, the second question. This one holds a place really close in my heart because I understand what is going on here. This woman wrote in and said, my daughter is back in school and she doesn't have any friends and she's being bullied. Oh, my heart goes out. And I do understand this because I went through this as a kid in my 5th grade year when we changed schools. And I understand the fear that a child feels going to school and the loneliness. So what we have to do is we have to help build her up because this is a tough time. And it's a really tough time also in schools because in order to keep peace, they don't really want the bully, the person who's being bullied, to stand up for themselves. However, that's probably the best thing she can do. And I'm online saying that. I'm not a psychologist, but I do know that was my freeing moment. I needed to know I could stand up for myself. And sometimes when we stay a victim, it's not a good feeling. So, but how can you help her? You've got to be there for her. And you've got to help build her self-esteem. And she's not going to want to do that right now because she feels like in a victim role. And what you have to do is get her out of the victim role as a mom. You got to let her know that she has the ability to deal with this, that she has the strength to deal with this, and to learn how to set her boundaries. No one has a right to bully. And when the bullying is into such a powerful place where the bully has control over her, then it's hard for her to swing around without that building up. And talk to the counselor at the school if you trust the counselor, or maybe a counselor on the outside, someone who will also help build her self-esteem up so that she can deal with what she has to deal with. And then also talk to the school and keep on them. The policies on bullying are not built for the victim. And what we really have to do is we have to alert and just demand that your daughter be separated as much as possible from this bully. It's, as a mom, we have to take our child's interest in our hands. And sometimes it's the schools, they have a lot of kids, but it's up to us to protect our children. And the best we can do is to help them deal with the situations they have to deal with and try to cushion it a little. But really, it's helping them. So there are some classes in Fort Wayne I know that deal with kids, girls especially, There's a Bring It On in Fort Wayne. And I bet wherever you're located in the U.S., there are groups like this. Bring It On is a wonderful organization just here in my own place, Fort Wayne, Indiana, that you can look up. And it teaches togetherness, collaboration, and it's with girls. And they build their self-esteem and they achieve things. And it just feels good. Getting her into something like that, or getting her into a youth knitting group, or something outside the school that builds that friendship, that will help build self-value within her. You're going to have to look for ways to build it. Also, leave little notes for her. You know, I used to always leave little notes in my knapsack for my kids. You know, oh my gosh, I know you can do it today. I know you can pass that test. I'm so happy for you and I just love you. Something like that with a cookie. Just little things. And don't dwell on the bullying as much, but also be very open for her to talk to you about it. And for you, you have to build up the strength within you. You have to build the strength within you to help your daughter. But with everything, I always find that it's helping our kids to deal with the life, because you know what? I'd love to say this is a one-time deal, but when we get out into the world, you don't know what's going to happen. And this is the time for her to learn how to deal with it. And your job is to help her learn how to deal with it. I hope that helps. And again, you can always call the station and I can talk to you. You're listening to 30-Minute Moments. I'm your host, Alena Chapman. We're adding ease and betterment to your life. Be right back.
You're listening to 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you discover your true purpose on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to 30-Minute Moments. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and this show is all about the betterment and ease in your life. For those of you who wrote in, I just hope that those answers help you to get started. And, you know, we are always growing. You'll have more questions. Always feel free to ask the questions. Ask Alena is once a month. I'm always happy to answer them right online. But if you need extra, you know how to get hold of me. You can always go on soulmanifesto.com also and write in there, hey, Alena, I would love to contact you. It's that simple. I'm really that accessible, guys. But if you want to write into the show for questions, make sure you write in or text, I think, 46862. Aren't you impressed, Kayla? And so if you type in then and send your question, I will answer on the next Ask Alena. All right. Now, let's go to the next. This is not a former question, but I really want to talk about, because I have so many people come to me with this, and I think it's time we brought it out. Boundaries. How do we set boundaries without creating strange situations? It's really funny. With these boundaries, it's very important to set up healthy boundaries in our life. But lots of times it's a very empowering feeling, and we get so hard when we are setting our boundaries. No, I don't want to deal with that. No, I'm not going to have you in my life. No, I'm cutting off all my Facebook friends. No, and we're setting boundaries. But really what we're doing is we're isolating ourselves, which is not the whole idea of boundaries in our life. And actually, setting up boundaries is not just about people. It's about also situations and things that we want to deal with that we're not dealing with correctly. So boundaries are on many, many, many levels. And I want us to just step back for a minute, because sometimes in these boundaries, we get lost in the idea. Anytime, I always say, if you're a smoker who's then not a non-smoker, you are like so anti-smoking that nobody can stop you. But if we can get off that pedestal and say, okay, what is really best for my life? And start to look at how I can teach people. This is better than even boundaries. How can I teach people how to treat me? That's the question. That's what you want. That turns the not wonderful situation of somebody who says things that kind of hurt you into something that they start becoming your friend. Now, there are limits to this. If you're in a really toxic relationship, and I mean really toxic, or you're in an abusive relationship, well, then it's time for a change. That's not just setting boundaries. That's honoring yourself and getting the heck out. But if you're dealing with like a parent who you just don't get along with or who triggers you, okay, it's time to show that parent who you are now. And or a boyfriend who's really well-intentioned, but maybe he's not treating you the best that you want to be treated. Or a girlfriend, or a sister, or brother, or a friend. These are where we need to step up, and you can do it in a loving way. I always say, how can this benefit everyone? Not just me. Of course, I'm in there. But how can it also better them? So easy ways, I have to look at their personality and then just say, like with my mom, every time she started in on something that was really derogatory towards me, I'd say, hey, Mom, I love you. I got to go. And pretty soon she stopped doing it. Someone else, I just kind of cooled their jets every time they got going on treating me in the wrong way. Or if the guy wasn't opening the door for me, yes, I'm one of those old-fashioned girls who likes the door open for me. If he's not doing it, then I'll open it for him a few times. And I should open it for him. But giving him not the idea of opening the door, but to do things nice for each other. Do you see? So it's teaching by being. Teaching by being. And also expecting. What do we want to expect how people treat us? And this way it's done with love and not just pushing people away, pushing situations away. How do we want to set up our boundaries so we can be the best we want to be and carry on with our heart and still keep some of these relationships? You don't want to be on an island. We want to be able to be out with people. So sit back and really think about this before we go all empowered and saying no. And we have another question.
Yeah, we've got a couple of comments coming in, Alena, on your Facebook Live that you've got streaming right now.
Aha.
And a lot of them have to do with courage to set these boundaries and where you find the courage to do that.
That's fantastic. Okay, let's talk about courage. That's a good question. And that's so funny because I'm the first one to say you need courage to be vulnerable, because vulnerable really takes a lot of strength.
Well, shout out to Hannah because she was vulnerable and asked that question. So there we go.
Yay, Hannah. Yay. Very cool. All right. So Hannah and others who are looking at that courage. Okay. Courage comes from self-esteem. And there are many ways to build this courage. And as I was talking about the first question with the man with the doubt, it really does start with building up that inner divine. Hannah, I think I know who Hannah is. I don't, but I'm just so excited. One little wonderful way I love is to start to build up yourself in two ways. I'll give you two ways on this show. One of them is I want you to create a sacred space. Now, this is an honoring thing. I always find people that don't honor themselves won't make the sacred space. So this sacred space is your place, Hannah, to be with a wonderful that you can discover, that you can go to for safety, for having fun, creating, going within. This is your space, and it can grow, but start with a space and decorate it the way you love. And it can be a chair, it can be with candles or nature, or it can be out in nature if you live in a warm climate and can do it all year long. Or you can have two, one indoors, one outdoors. And if you travel, like I do a lot, I have like a little blanket shawl that I bring, and I put it on my bed. I create a sacred space. And this sacred space, the only thing the rules of it is that when you go up to it, you take your finger and you put it out. Try to get to north. If you don't know where north is, pretend you do, and say from north to east to south to west to north, and see yourself drawing a white light all the way around this circle, and say, that is the circle of safety. And then stand outside that circle and say, no worry, doubt, or fear shall enter here. And you see this little gray cloud that you just take your hand and you push it away from the circle. And when you are thinking about what you're going to do in your circle versus the doubt and fear, then take a step in. Now, if that fear, worry, and doubt does come in, clap to get that energy to go away. And then step back out and say, no, no, no. This worry, doubt, and fear has to go. And then step in. Now, in this circle, this is yours. It's a way to honor yourself, congratulate yourself. Congratulate yourself for every little thing you do. Believe it or not, it's not conceit. It's honoring who you are. But in that circle, you can start creating things, creating lists, writing songs, writing books, writing poetry, reading, whatever you want to do, feeding your soul. Read some Troward. That's who I was saying to read. You can read Troward. You can also listen to YouTube. You can listen to music, meditate, whatever you want, okay? That's time to honor you, and do it every day. Now, honoring yourself, that's one. Number 2, baby steps. Every day, do something that challenges you a little bit. It doesn't have to be big. I'm not going to jump out of the plane with a parachute yet. But I might start to do something a little bit different. I might talk to people I've never talked to before. Or I might try writing a book. Or I might try just doing something outside my comfort zone. If I'm an introvert, maybe I'll do some volunteer work at the library and work with children, read a book to them or something. Something that little baby steps. And every time I do a baby step, I'm going to say to myself, oh my gosh, I did it. I can do this. These 2 things make courage. It's honoring yourself and doing the baby steps and saying, yes, I got it. Got it? So those are 2 ways we can do it on the show. You're listening to 30-minute moments for ease and betterment in your life. And I love Ask Alena. Be right back.
This is 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner self every Sunday on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to Ask Alena, and this is your show, 30-Minute Moments, and I'm Alena Chapman, the host. And if you have questions, go ahead and text 46862 and let us know, because these shows are designed to be of benefit for you, because that's what we want, the ease and betterment in your life. So we're talking about these boundaries, and we're talking about boundaries with people, and I hope that helped someone out there, because Hannah asked a wonderful question about getting the courage to do this. But one other way that you can get the courage and set boundaries, start seeing how you need to set boundaries within yourself. You know, okay, well, so what do I mean? I'll go for that diet thing that so many people are on. And sometimes this helps to make it very, very clear. But, all right, so if I'm on a diet and I am constantly still eating the foods that I shouldn't be eating, or if I'm trying to be healthier, I'm sorry, diet is not a good word anymore. It's getting healthier, but I'm eating foods that I shouldn't be eating, then I haven't set up my boundaries. I haven't defined my boundaries for myself, and I keep crossing over them. Now, how do we expect others to adhere to our boundaries if we can't even adhere to our own boundaries? So it has to do with honoring ourselves. It has to do with us saying, all right, I'm not going to have that chocolate sundae with nuts and whatever on top, or whatever it is that you like. Chocolate sundae. I have a boundary. This is not what I'm going to do now. I'll save that for one day a week, only one day a week. That's my boundary. And stick with it and think of the love. Don't think that I can't have it, but what I'm creating with that boundary. It's really creating boundaries for ourselves that helps us get through any situation. Even in the hardest part of my life, as I was trying to build a stronger family, I had to build a boundary for myself. I just said, you know what? I am not going to be dragged down into that world where that is awful. I'm not going to let others drag me down into that world. And I set up a boundary. Now, sometimes I had to deal with that world, but I would not allow myself to live in it. That's called a boundary. And some people call it a decision. It's both. But you have to have it, and you don't break it. Because when you break it, you're not honoring yourself. And it's time to start honoring ourselves. If we honor ourselves enough to build these boundaries and to create a life of beauty and happiness and feeling like you can control, not just totally control, because I always say surrender it to higher, but not be affected by outside things all the time. In that sense, you are controlling. If we are going to have that, what we really are doing is we're making ourselves a better vessel to bring light into the world and love. That's what you're really doing. All right, so if you want to learn more about Alena, or even more about the show, you can get on WoWo to look up the show, or the podcasts are all over the place. You can listen to other episodes. We have some awesome guests on this show. But I also want to say, if you want to learn more about Soul Manifesto, or you have something you want to contact me about, go to soulmanifesto.com. and check that out. Also, I have a fantastic free, I have a free video thing on there that you may like every day to start out with intention and happiness. Start that beginning, feeling like a beginning. I have Morning Abundance. So if you get on soulmanifesto.com, go to Morning Abundance and just put in your information. Hope you had a wonderful time on Ask Alena. And thank you for your questions. If you have any more, go to 46862 and ask.
This has been 30-Minute Moments featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now at wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.